Okay, we are live streaming. Good morning, everyone. My name is Judge Tamika West. I'm a Magistrate Court Judge in Clayton County. I will be presiding over your first appearance hearing this morning. I will swear you in and then I will make some opening remarks. Please pay close attention to my opening remarks because it includes your statement of rights. So if everyone will raise their right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information in your application for court-appointed counsel, as well as the information that you give to this court, will be true and accurate to the best of your knowledge? Okay, thank you. Again, this is your first appearance hearing before Magistrate Court of Clayton County. We are not here to try your case or to take a plea. You are here for the court to inform you of the charges against you, advise you of certain rights, set bail on those offenses for which the court is authorized to set bail, schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you choose to give up this right, anything you say during these proceedings may be used against you if your case was to go to trial. During this proceedings and all others, you have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felony or accusations for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to see, hear, and cross-examine all witnesses who are called to testify against you. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena. You also have the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so. But should you choose not to do so, no presumption of your guilt may be raised. You also have the right to have an attorney represent you. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending prosecution of the case, which may be by cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, someone would deliver the full amount of the cash bond together with any applicable mandated fees to the sheriff's office, who will then hold it until your final court date, at which time the cash bond will be returned to the person who posted it. If you use a commercial bonding company approved by the sheriff's office, someone will have to pay the company up to 15% of the total bond amount as their fee for their service. This fee will not be returned. Someone may post a bond using their property if they have net equity in the property in an amount equal to 3 times the total amount of the bond. Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going around certain places. This is a special condition that will be provided to you on your bond order. You will also be prohibited from calling or contacting any alleged victims while you're in jail, as well as if you're out on bond. Should you choose to violate the court order, your bond will be revoked and you will not be entitled to another bond while awaiting trial. An additional charge of aggravated stalking, influencing witnesses, or other charges as the law may provide could be brought against you, for which you could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison and fined up to $20,000. For family members who will assist you in posting bond, they will be provided with information of your bond amount after I have concluded the first appearance calendar for today. If a family member is an alleged victim on the warrant and there is a special condition that you're to have no contact with that family member, he or she will not be allowed to post bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is simply not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a Superior Court judge, and you will be informed of that date during your first appearance hearing this morning. If you're currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set a bond. Your bond can be reconsidered after a probation officer has had the opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant for a violation of your probation, usually during the preliminary hearing. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine if there is enough evidence or probable cause to justify keeping you detained until such time as your case goes to trial. Again, the purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine if there is enough evidence or probable cause to justify keeping you detained until such time as your case goes to trial. For those of you charged with misdemeanors only, you will have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing. Waiving your preliminary hearing will not affect your rights to post bond, your rights to have an attorney represent you, or your right to have a jury trial. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived and you will be mailed a notice as to when to appear in state court for arraignment. If you cannot make bond, you may waive your preliminary hearing and be taken before a state court judge, at which time, if you plead guilty, you will be sentenced. If you plead not guilty, a trial will be scheduled on your behalf. If you choose to have a misdemeanor preliminary hearing, the hearing will be scheduled for September the 13th, 2022 via Zoom. For those of you charged with felony offenses, you will not have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing. Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 12th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. That will conclude my opening remarks. At this time, I will take the first defendant. I believe we're doing the females first. Is that correct, Deputy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you would please state your full name for the record for me.
Shamika Nicole Burgess.
Ms. Burgess, you've been charged with one offense, theft by receiving stolen property. Your bond amount is $6,500. Do you understand the charge as well as the bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
You say yes? Okay. Also, it appears that you completed an application for court-appointed counsel. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's a paper.
Your application for a court-appointed counsel, do you recall completing a form?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, based on your responses, you would qualify for court-appointed counsel. So I will approve that request. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, please state your full name for the record.
Paige Courtney Cannon.
Ms. Cannon, you've been charged with 2 offenses to include financial transaction fraud and theft by receiving stolen property. The bond amount for the financial transaction card fraud is $2,000. The bond amount for theft by receiving stolen property is $2,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $4,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes.
Can you make bond?
Can I have family try?
Okay. Well, if you're unsure, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. If you're unsure, then I would recommend that you leave the preliminary hearing on the calendar. If you bond out, it will be automatically waived, but you do have the option of waiving the preliminary hearing. What would you like to do?
To waive it.
Okay, if you're unsure, I recommend you leave it on the calendar.
Okay, then I'll stay on the calendar.
Okay. You also completed a request for court-appointed counsel, is that correct?
I did. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're currently unemployed, is that correct?
That's correct.
So based upon your responses, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, therefore I will appoint one to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, please state your full name for the record for me.
Marcion Delisha Tashantes Christopher.
Okay, Ms. Christopher, you've been charged with one offense, specifically DUI, alcohol, driving less safe. Your bond amount is $5,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yeah,
Can you make bond?
yes.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
Keep it on the calendar.
Okay. And you also completed a request for court-appointed counsel as well, you recall?
Oh.
I do have a form with your name on it. You recall completing one?
Yeah.
Okay, based on your response, on the application, you do qualify for court-appointed counsel. So therefore, I will approve the application. Do you have any questions? Thank you. Okay, please state your full name for the record for me.
Antonella Keishiana Freeman.
Ms. Freeman, you've been charged with one charge of simple battery family violence. Your bond amount is $4,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you make bond?
I'm unsure right now.
Okay. If you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order. The first condition is you're to have no contact with an individual by the name of Dominique Lane. Do you know who that is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who's that?
That's my ex-boyfriend.
Okay, because he's the alleged victim in the case, you're to have no contact, which means you must stay away. Absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by telephone, or third person from the person's home, workplace, and immediate family members of any witnesses with respect to Mr. Lane. In addition, you're not to return to the premises located at 681 Flint River Road, number 45E, Jonesboro, Georgia, because that's where the alleged incident occurred. Is that your primary residence?
Yes, ma'am. That's my home. That's my apartment.
Okay, is Mr. Lane also on the lease to the apartment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, do you live together?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So was he visiting when the incident occurred?
He came, he bought a bedroom suit and he came to get the bedroom suit because we were in
Okay, well, I just need to know if I was just trying to figure out why he was there if he doesn't live there. Because
Yes.
this is family violence, so I will, if you're testifying under oath that you're the only one on the lease to the apartment, I will remove that provision from the bond order.
Yes, ma'am. Me and my 3 children are the only ones on the lease.
Okay. I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Since it is a misdemeanor, would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
Keep it on the calendar, please.
Okay. And then you also completed an application for court-appointed counsel, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your responses on the application, you do qualify for court-appointed counsel, therefore I will approve the application. Do you have any questions?
No. No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman.
Thank you.
Okay, please state your full name for me.
Bridget Alicia Stevens.
Ms. Stevens, you've been charged with one charge of simple battery. Your bond amount is $4,000. Do you understand the charge as well as the bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order. The first condition is you're to have no contact with an individual by the name of Christy Stevens. Do you recognize that name?
That's my sister.
Okay, because she's the alleged victim in the case, you're to have no contact, which means you must stay away, absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, telephone, third person, from via social media, from the person's home, her workplace, and immediate family members of any witnesses, including Ms. Stevens. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, because the alleged incident occurred at 2040 Is it Lewis Lane?
It was the 14th, yes,
Lewis
ma'am.
the 14 Lane, Atlanta, Georgia, 30349. Because the alleged incident occurred there, you're not to return to those premises while you're out on bond. Is that your primary residence?
It was. I'll be going to a hotel tonight.
Okay, you understand that you're not to return to those premises while you're out on bond?
Yes, ma'am. Am I able to go get my vehicle to move on?
Well, I will include a provision in the order that will allow you to make an appointment with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release to accompany you to that location to retrieve any undisputed personal property, but it must be undisputed. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You do have the option of waiving the preliminary hearing since it is, you've been charged with a misdemeanor. Would you like to waive the preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
Keep it on the calendar.
You also completed a form for court-appointed counsel, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on your responses, you do qualify for a court-appointed counsel. But I will approve the request. Do you have any other question?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you state your full name for me?
Kiana Nicole Walton.
Ms. Walton, you've been charged with one charge of criminal trespass. Your bond amount is $1,500. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Since you've only been charged with a misdemeanor, you have the option of waiving the preliminary hearing. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
Keep it on the calendar.
You also completed a request for court-appointed counsel as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So based on your responses on the application, you do qualify for court-appointed counsel. So I will approve that request. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, please state your full name for me.
Janice Shante Young.
Ms. Young, you've been charged with two charges. The first charge is a discharge of a firearm, as well as the second charge will be reckless conduct. Your first charge of discharge of a firearm on property of another, the bond amount is $5,000. The second charge of reckless conduct, your bond amount is $3,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You do have the option of waiving the preliminary hearing. What would you like to do?
I want to stay on the calendar.
Okay. You also completed a request for court-appointed counsel, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So based upon your responses on the application, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will approve one for you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Young.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that concludes the females for today.
Okay, move on to the males. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one.
Okay, Deputy, I'm ready for the first male inmate.
All right.
Okay, state your full name for me.
Bernie Asensio,
Okay, spell that for me.
E-N-N-Y, Asensio, A-S-E-N-C-I-O. NCIO.
Sir, you've been charged with one charge of trafficking marijuana. Due to the nature of your charge, I'm not authorized to set bail for you today. Therefore, there is a no bond. Do you understand the charge as well as the no bond?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your first hearing, your preliminary hearing for September the 12th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And then your bond hearing will be scheduled for September 16th, 2022. Do you understand those two different hearing dates?
Yes, ma'am.
You also completed a request for court-appointed counsel as well, is that correct?
Sorry, I
You
didn't hear it.
refused to. Do you not need counsel, sir?
Oh,
Do you not need court-appointed counsel?
no, I have my own lawyer.
Okay, you sure you don't want to just have an attorney in place just in case? It's up to you.
No.
Okay. Okay, well, that will conclude your first appearance. Do you have any questions?
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just have a seat right there.
Okay. David, I just want to make sure we stay in order. I still have someone by the name of, I'll push, is AMPONSAH?
Yes, Your Honor, please come up.
Okay, I just want to make sure we take them in alphabetical order so I can stay organized. Or in the order that you sent me the list.
Okay.
Okay, state your full name for me.
It's Quadro J.M. Hunter,
Okay, and spell your last name for me.
AMPONSAH.
Okay, sir, you've been charged with 5 charges to include simple assault, family violence. The second charge is cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. The 3rd charge is reckless driving. The 4th charge is simple battery, family violence. And then the 5th charge is fleeing, attempting to elude the police. I will now give you the bond amount for each charge. For the first charge, your simple assault is $5,000. The second charge, cruelty to children, is $5,000. The 3rd charge for reckless driving is $2,000. The 4th charge of simple battery is $5,000. And then the 5th charge of fleeing, attempting to elude the police is $3,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $20,000. Do you understand the charges as well as the bond amount? That's a yes or no, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on the bond order. The first condition is you're to have no contact with 2 individuals by the name of, and I'll just spell them, ANDJAI. Last name is AMPONSAH. And then the second name is RANIACKHAH. Do you recognize those names?
Yeah.
Okay, who are those individuals to you?
That's my mom and sister.
Okay, because they're the alleged victims in the case, there's a no contact, which means you must stay away, absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by telephone, by social media, or third person from each person's home, their workplace, and immediate family members of any witnesses. In addition, because the alleged incident occurred at 5881 Eagles Feather Lane, Riverdale, Georgia, 30274, you're not to return to those premises while you're out on bond. Is that your primary residence?
Sure.
Okay, unfortunately, you would have to make other arrangements while you're out on bond. You cannot return to those premises. However, I will include a provision in the order that you can make an appointment with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release to accompany you to that location to retrieve any undisputed personal property. And then you also cannot violate any laws while out on bond. Do you understand those as conditions of your release, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022. I'm sorry, September the 12th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that is your first hearing date?
Yes,
You
Your Honor.
understand that's your first hearing date, sir?
I don't have the option to waive it.
No, I don't. Let me see here. Just make sure I have all your charges. So yes, sir. Actually, you are charged with all misdemeanors. So your preliminary hearing will be September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. So you do have the option of waiving if you would like to do so. Is that something you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I just want to advise you that if you waive your preliminary hearing and you cannot make bail, then you'll be sitting there until you can make bail. Do you understand that?
Your Honor.
So if you're unsure about making bail, I would recommend that you leave your preliminary hearing on the calendar, because if you can't make bail, then there's no other hearing date set for you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what would you like to do? It's up to you.
We could just keep it on it, but
You also completed a request for court-appointed counsel, is that correct?
I refused it.
You refused as well? Yes, you refused. Do you not need a court-appointed attorney, sir?
I hired my own.
Are you sure?
Yes, Your Honor.
You sure you don't want to have one in place just in case?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. So I will put you down that you're gonna hire your own counsel. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Brown. Josiah Brown.
Okay, sir, state your full name for me.
Josiah Abram Brown.
Mr. Brown, you've been charged with 2 offenses, to include possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And it appears that you also had an expired tag when you were stopped by the officer. Your bond amount for the possession of marijuana is $1,500. Your bond amount for the invalid tag or expired tag is $500. Therefore, your total bond amount is $2,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
They told me 25.
They told you, well, it's $1,500 for the possession of marijuana, and then it's $500 for the expired tag. So I only have 2 charges for you. So if you add 15 plus 500, that's 2,000. But
They wrote down the wrong.
Yeah.
They just wrote it down wrong. It's cool.
I can tell you, I'm looking at your order now that I've signed, and it's 1,500 and 500. Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
usually standard for less than an ounce.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, 2,000 is better than 2,500, correct?
That's why I'm thanking you.
Judge,
Yes.
if I may, I think it is administration fees that's added on. That's probably why it's 25.
What they told them, did they tell you 25 or 2,000? Did they tell you that was with applicable fees, sir?
I mean, they didn't really tell. They just told me that's how much the bond amount was. So
Well, I can only tell you what my order states. I mean, there may be additional mandated fees by the sheriff office, but the bond amount says 1,500 and 500. Okay, so
Yes.
that's what the order will state. You understand that?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Since you are charged with misdemeanors, you have the option of waiving a preliminary hearing. What would you like to do?
You can keep it on.
Keep it on the calendar?
Yes.
And then you also refused to complete a request for court-appointed counsel, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you not want to have an attorney in place just in case you need one, or you want to hire your own? You still have the option of hiring your own at some point if you decide, but if you qualify for court-appointed counsel, then I have no problem with approving that request today. I just would need to ask you a few questions. If not, you can hire your own attorney.
I guess I get an attorney just in case.
You get a court-appointed, you want a court-appointed attorney, or you'll get your own attorney?
Let's do the court-appointed attorney for right now, then I'll.
Okay, well, let me just ask you a few questions. Give me your correct address.
It's 4119 Akins, Akins Ridge, Ridge Court. It's Powder Springs, Georgia, 30127.
Give me the zip code again.
30127.
Okay, Mr. Brown, and do you currently have a job?
Yes.
Okay, and how much is your monthly income?
Monthly, I say about 4,500.
Okay, so unfortunately, based on your income, you do not qualify for court-appointed counsel, so you will have to hire your own attorney. Do you have any questions? You have any questions, sir?
No, no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I do have one question.
Yes.
At the time of my arrest, I was not read my Miranda rights. Does that still qualify for all of this?
Well, I can't advise you with respect to that, sir. You're more than welcome to speak with your attorney about any claims. Okay? Thank you. State your full name for me.
Antoine J. Bond Crutchfield.
So you've been charged with 2 charges. The first charge is interference with custody. The second charge is theft by taking. For the first charge, interference with custody, the bond amount is $3,000. For the theft by taking charge, the bond amount is $10,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $13,000. Do you understand the bond amount as well as the charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
Not sure.
Okay. I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. That will be your next hearing date, sir. Would you like to waive the preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
I'll keep it on the calendar.
Okay. Now, it does appear that you did complete the request for court-appointed counsel. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your responses on the application, unfortunately, you do not qualify for court-appointed counsel, so you will have to hire your own attorney. Any questions?
Can I say that the price, the amount that I put on there, that was before taxes is taken out? I wasn't really sure if you were saying net or gross.
Well, it's gross.
Okay, so the price is wrong then.
Well, what's the price? I mean, not the price. What's your monthly income? You understand you're under oath? Do you understand you're under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you
It's
understand
around
it. Let me finish, sir. You understand at some point you'll likely have to verify your income.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what would you like to change your monthly income to?
It's around 2,600.
So how did you get 3,600 then?
Because after taxes, like I pay child support and taxes.
Well, that's why I asked for your gross. What is your gross?
It's
not amount as any child support or anything like that. What is your gross?
I'm not really sure about the total gross because not right now anyways.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with what you swore on the penalty of perjury in your application. So you will have to hire your own attorney, okay?
Okay.
Any other questions?
No,
Any
ma'am.
other questions? Okay, thank you.
Childs.
Michael Childs.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Childs. How are you doing?
All right.
You've been charged with 1 charge of obstruction Obstruction hindering an emergency telephone call, your bond amount is $2,000. Do you understand the charge as well as the bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You do have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing. Would you like to waive it or keep it on the court's calendar?
Keep it.
Okay. You put your name on your application for court appointed counsel, but you didn't include any information that was requested on the form, sir. So in order for me to determine whether or not you qualify, I'll need to ask you a few questions, okay? Okay, can you give me your correct street address?
I'm not really sure because I was just homeless and I just started staying at a rooming house. So I'm
Okay, do you have a telephone number?
do I? No, I don't.
Okay, because how will they get in contact with you if you qualify for court appointed counsel?
I got other people with other numbers. I usually
You
use
have
my,
those numbers you can give me?
yeah, I can give you my mom's number.
Okay, well, give me your mom's number.
941
941
875
875
6677.
6677. Okay.
77.
Okay, so make sure okay, and do you have a job?
No.
Okay. So make sure your mom, you do qualify for court appointed counsel. So I will approve your request, but make sure your mom know how to locate you because that'll be the only way they can follow up with you with respect to the court appointed counsel.
Yeah.
You understand that?
I got a my baby mama got a phone, but I don't know her number by heart. So she usually call her. So I don't know.
Okay, well, the only number you can give me as of now is your mom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I have it on the form. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
but I have approved the request for court appointed counsel.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. You say 2,000, right?
Yes, your bond amount is 2,000.
All right.
Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Childs.
Foster.
Please state your full name for me.
Gregory Foster.
Okay, Mr. Foster, middle name is Edward.
Yes.
Mr. Foster, you've been charged with one charge of simple battery. Your bond amount is $4,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes.
Can you make bond?
Yes.
If you can make bond, there will be a special condition included on your bond order. The first condition is you're to have a no contact with the individual by the name of Janisha Young, because she's the alleged victim in the case. Do you know who that is? You recognize that name? Okay, who's that? Okay, so I'm clear. You must stay away. Absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by telephone, via social media, or you cannot contact her through a third person. You can't go to her home, her workplace, and you also must stay away from any family members of witnesses or witnesses. Do you understand that with respect to Ms. Young? You understand that, sir? I need a verbal yes or no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, you cannot violate any laws while out on bond. Do you understand the special conditions of your release, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Also, I scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Since you've been charged with a misdemeanor, you have the option of waiving the preliminary hearing. Would you like to waive it or keep it on the court's calendar?
Waive it.
Want to waive it? Okay. Okay, now if you waive it, then you'll need to sign a waiver of, you need to get a waiver form from one of the deputies for me to be able to waive your preliminary hearing. You understand that?
But just keep it. Just keep it.
You say just keep it? Okay. And then you completed an application for court appointed counsel?
Yes.
Okay, based on your responses, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So therefore, I will approve it. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Freeman. Lane.
Okay, that's your full name for me, sir.
Dominic Jerron Lane.
Mr. Lane, you've been charged with one charge of criminal trespass. Your bond amount is $3,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You do have the option of waiving a preliminary hearing. Would you like to waive it or keep it on the calendar?
Keep it on the calendar.
Okay. I see you completed an application for court-appointed counsel, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and based on your responses, you put a 0 when they asked you for a job. Does that mean you're employed or unemployed?
Unemployed.
Okay. So based on your response, you do qualify for a court-appointed counsel. Therefore, I will approve the request. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hey, Anthony.
Give me your full name, sir.
And Troy LeMay.
Mr. LeMay, you are charged with 2 charges. The first charge is loitering in violation of Georgia state law, and then public drunkenness. Your bond amount for the loitering is $1,000. Your bond amount for the public drunkenness is $1,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $2,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you cannot make bond, your next hearing date will be September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. That'll be your preliminary hearing. You understand that is your next hearing date, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I have reviewed your application for court-appointed counsel. You recall completing your application, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your application responses, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. How can that case have these charges if I was at home?
Okay, would you like me to read the particulars of the warrant? According to the officer's affidavit, it says that you did not reside there. It said the homeowner stated that you did not reside at the home. So I would suggest you relay whatever defense, you can relay whatever defense or claim to your attorney to assist you, okay? Okay, and also if you are released, if you at some point do get released on bond, then I have included no, you cannot return to the premises where the alleged incident occurred, which is 7327 Camelot Court, Riverdale, Georgia. You can't return to those premises while you're out on bond. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am. Am I allowed to get my things, my cell phone, my wallet, my clothes?
Okay, do you reside there, sir? Do you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've been staying there for a month and I pay $150 every week to stay there.
Were you renting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was staying with my friend and her parents live there, and I was giving her mom $150 every week to stay there, and I've been there for a month.
Okay. Do you have proof of that? That you were paying? In what way were you paying rent?
Well, I would cash out her the money every week. There were a couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, I gave her cash.
Okay, do you have,
As I said, my wallet's
so let me
there.
finish speaking, sir.
My clothes there.
Let me finish speaking, sir. Don't speak when I'm speaking. With respect to the Cash App, do you have access to your Cash App records?
Probably if I can get to my phone, as I said, my phone is in the residence. My wallet is in the residence. My clothes are at the residence.
Okay,
I have a
well,
suit
if,
and a bag
okay,
there.
well, if you can prove, okay, well, if you can provide proof to the sheriff office that you resided there, then I will include a provision in the order that states that within 10 days upon your release, okay, you can have a sheriff accompany you to that resident to retrieve any undisputed personal property. Undisputed. You understand that? Okay, but you will have to provide proof that you reside there. Okay? So if you have your Cash App showing that you allegedly paid the $250 a week, and you said $250 a week in rent?
It was 150 a week.
Okay, 150. You say you paid that via Cash App, correct?
Yes, ma'am, a couple times it was cash.
Okay. Okay, well, you need to provide some proof. You understand that?
But as I said, I have a luggage bag there with all kind of mail with my name on it, clothes there.
Okay.
I have a small tote bin with clothes in it. That's why I don't understand how I could be charged with loitering and public intoxication if I was in a place of residence. The officer
So they
didn't-
indicated, well, I guess apparently like I said, they told the police officer that you did not reside there. But again, if you have any undisputed personal property there, I will include a provision, but you will need to provide some proof that you resided there. You understand that?
items at the residence prove that if they're closed.
Well, if you have your Cash App, do you have your phone? Was your phone retrieved while it was on you?
No, my phone was inside the house. I just stepped outside to get some air.
Okay. Okay, well, like I said, I will include the provision that the sheriff office can accompany you to that residence to retrieve any undisputed personal property. Okay? Any other questions?
Sorry, go ahead.
I said any other questions? I approve your request for court appointed counsel. So any other?
If I can get someone to call the sheriff's office to say that I did stay there, would I be able to?
Sir, I'm my only purpose today is to inform you of the charges, set bail, and to see if you qualify for court appointed counsel. I have accomplished that today, so that will conclude your first appearance hearing.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I'll take it.
Okay, state your full name for.
Gary Martinez Alvarado.
Sir, you've been charged with 2 charges. The first charge is theft by taking. The third charge is theft by conversion. The bond amount for the theft by taking is $2,000. The bond amount for the theft by conversion is $2,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $4,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that to be your next hearing date, sir? You understand that that's your next court date, September the 13th, 2022?
I have a question. Am I gonna get any paperwork?
Well, no, first say yes or no. Do you understand your preliminary hearing date is scheduled for September the 13th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you do have the option of waiving a preliminary hearing. Would you like to waive it or keep it on the court's calendar?
Keep it on the calendar, please.
Okay, I'll take your questions now. The question, sir? You said you had a question?
Oh, I was gonna ask you if you were gonna if I was gonna receive any type of paperwork, getting my next from preliminary court date.
Yeah, well, this is your notice now, September the 13th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You will receive information how to log on to if you're released, how to log on to participate in your hearing if necessary, but likely your attorney will appear on your behalf. I have approved a court appointed attorney for you since you're currently unemployed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So your preliminary hearing date will be relayed to your court appointed counsel and they'll reach out to you. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Nelson.
Okay, state your full name for me, sir.
Travis Terrell Nelson.
Mr. Nelson, you've been charged with 2 charges. The first charge is battery, family violence. The second charge is criminal damage in the 2nd degree. Your bond amount for the battery charge is $6,000. Your bond amount for the criminal damage is $5,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $11,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount? You say yes, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order. The first condition is you're to have no contact with an individual by the name of Brian Nelson Alexander. Do you recognize that name?
Yes.
Okay, who's that?
Brother.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Brother.
Your brother? Okay. Okay, according to the warrant that I have here, it says that Brian Nelson Alexander is your husband.
No.
Okay, that's not true?
No.
Okay, well,
that's my brother.
Okay. But, okay, so whether it's your brother or your husband, you're to have no contact, which means you must stay away, absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by telephone, or third person, by social media. Also, you have to stay away from the person's home, the workplace, immediate family members with respect to Mr. Nelson. You understand that?
Yes.
In addition, because the alleged incident occurred at 1001 Magnolia Circle, Jonesboro, Georgia, you are to stay away from that residence while you're out on bond. Is that your primary residence? Is that your primary residence, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you don't have any undisputed personal property there?
No.
Okay. Also, you cannot violate any laws while out on bond. Do you understand that to be the conditions of your release, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 12th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that that's your next court date, sir? You understand that that's your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then, can you make bond? Did you say you can make bond on the 11,000 amount?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
make bond? Okay. And it appears you also completed the application for court-appointed counsel, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said, based on your responses here, it does appear you qualify, so I will approve the application for court-appointed counsel. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Okay, state your full name for me. Owens, correct? Mr. Owens, you've been charged with 1 charge of criminal damage in the 2nd degree. Your bond amount is $5,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yeah.
Can you make bond?
No.
You say no?
I can't make mine.
Okay. Your next court date will be September the 12th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. That will be your preliminary hearing. You understand that? That'll be your next court date, sir? Okay. Also, it does appear you completed an application for court-appointed counsel. You're currently unemployed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, based on your response, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will approve the application. Do you have any questions? Thank you, sir.
Wallace.
That's your full name for me?
Alexander Wallace Robinson.
Mr. Wallace, you've been charged with 1 charge of theft by receiving stolen property. Your bond amount is $5,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
No.
I'm sorry to hear you. Do you understand? Okay, can you make?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for September the 12th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that that's your next court day, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, you refuse to complete an application for court-appointed counsel. You stated you already have an attorney, already have one, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you've already hired an attorney, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll put that down as you're gonna hire your own attorney. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir, Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Guy. Yeah.
Okay, please state your full name. Okay, state your full name for me.
Ronald Guy.
Okay, and then your name, sir?
Daniel Davis.
Okay. Okay. Well, good morning. This is your not only your first appearance, but what we call your extradition hearing. My name is Judge Tamika West, and I'm presiding over your hearing this morning. Your hearing is what is called an extradition hearing. All the rights that I have advised everyone of early on also apply in your case, but your hearing is just a little bit different from the other first appearance hearing that have taken place. First, you do not have charges pending against you in Clayton County, Georgia. You have been brought to court today because you have charges pending against you in another state, and they're requesting that you return to the state to answer the charges against you. First, I will speak to Mr. Guy. Mr. Guy, are you in fact Ronald Guy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then Mr. Davis, are you in fact Nathaniel S. Davis?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Guy, do you have an attorney representing you in this matter?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And then Mr. Davis, do you have an attorney representing you in this matter?
No, ma'am. I spoke to my, I did have charges in Clayton County, but they're resolved. I got time served for, but he said that, he told me that I could get a bond on this charge and get an OR bond and everything. I don't know if he just know what he's talking about, but.
Well, according to the paperwork I've been provided with, sir, there is an outstanding, and I'll get to this, but Mr. Davis, apparently you're wanted in the state of South Carolina for a parole violation. And so therefore we have to move forward with the extradition hearing based on the warrant that I have. You understand that?
No, they
I
told me.
understand you'll get an opportunity to contest extradition, but let me just go through your rights, okay? Okay, Mr. Guy, let me ask you. You understand that I have you here that you're wanted in the state of, I believe it's Louisiana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'll go through your rights and you'll have an opportunity to contest that if you don't believe that to be true. But according to the one that I have, you are wanted in New Orleans for an assault and they would like to extradite. So I'm going to move forward with both the extradition hearing for you and Mr. Davis. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Davis, you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, listen closely to your rights, okay? You have been charged with being a fugitive from justice. The hearing is being conducted pursuant to Georgia law, Title 17, Chapter 13. As you have heard, it is alleged that you are charged with respect to you, Mr. Guy, you are charged with a crime with respect to an assault in the state of Louisiana, okay? And the state of Louisiana is requesting that you return. You have a choice, and then with respect to you, Mr. Davis, the state of South Carolina is asking that you return. You have a choice as to whether you wish to contest the extradition or waive the extradition and be returned to the other state without going through the formal extradition process. If you decide that you wish to contest the extradition, the court may commit you to the county jail for an initial period of 30 days. During the time, a warrant will be prepared under the governor's signature for your extradition to the other state. The court may consider allowing you to post bond, but the court is not required to allow you to post bond. So as I indicated before, both of you guys, in the court's discretion, there is a no bond as you're wanted by another jurisdiction. I'm not setting bond for you at this time. If you do not wish to voluntarily return for you, Mr. Davis, if you do not want to return to the state of Louisiana, and then for you, if you don't want to return to the state of South Carolina, Mr. Davis, and then for you, Mr. Guy, if you don't return to the state of Louisiana, you may file what they call a writ of habeas corpus to contest the extradition. The writ of habeas corpus can only contest 4 things. The first thing is whether the extradition documents are in order on their face. The second way is whether you are charged with a crime that actually exists in the demanding state. With respect to you, Mr. Guy, that will be in the state of Louisiana. With respect to you, Mr. Davis, that will be the state of South Carolina. The third way you can contest is whether you are actually the person named in the request for extradition. And the fourth way you contest is whether you are in fact a fugitive from justice. Let me be clear, you cannot contest your issue of guilt or innocence in this state, in the state of Georgia. You are entitled to the advice of counsel in contesting extradition or in deciding whether to waive extradition. If the state is unable to extradite you within 30 days, you may be committed to the county jail for an additional 60 days while awaiting extradition. If the extradition is not completed within 90 days, then you will be released. If you decide to voluntarily waive and return to the state that is demanding your return, okay, the demanding state will have up to 60 days to travel here to transport you back to that particular state. If they do not come back to transfer you back to that state, you will be released. At this time, do you have any questions regarding your rights or anything that I just explained to you today? First, I will ask you, Mr. Guy, I'm gonna take you in alphabetical order. Mr. Guy, do you have any questions about your rights and whether or not to waive extradition?
No, ma'am.
Okay, it is your choice. Would you like to waive extradition or would you like to contest it?
I would like to waive it.
Okay, if you would like to waive it, there will be 6 extradition waiver forms that you'll need to complete. The deputy should have those forms available for you to sign.
Oh, excuse me. I mean, I'm not trying to test it. If they want to come get me, they can come
Yeah,
on.
that means you gotta waive it. That means you gotta waive your extradition. You understand? You gotta waive it. So I need you to sign the waivers. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So once you sign the waivers, then they will forward that paperwork and then they will proceed forward in seeking to return you to the state of Louisiana. You understand that?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
you also have the option of waiving extradition or contesting it. Okay, do you wish to contest the extradition or waive former extradition?
I got a question.
Okay,
When I was, they said my charge was out of Spartanburg. Is that what it's showing correctly?
that's what it says, Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Spartanburg, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. That was
Well, I
what.
just know it's just stage for probation violation.
Ma'am, I'm not on probation in Spartanburg.
Okay, well, again, you have the option of waiving extradition or contesting it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I just don't see it. They must got the wrong person. I mean, I've never had a charge in Spartanburg my whole life.
I understand. So again, I've read you your rights. Let me finish, sir. I've given you all of the rights I can give you today. So if you're contesting the extradition, then you do not sign the waiver, and then I've scheduled your first preliminary hearing for September. Your bond hearing is September 16, 2022. And then your preliminary is September 12, 2022. So what I stated is, listen to what I'm saying. It says, if you decide that you wish to contest the extradition, court may commit you to the county jail for an initial period of 30 days. Okay, so you will at least be there for 30 days if you contest the extradition. Okay, and then during that time, a warrant will be prepared for the governor's signature for extradition to the other state. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So then they will have up to, again, if you contest it, then it's initial period of at least 30 days. Okay, if you are entitled to the advice of counsel in contesting the extradition or deciding whether to waive. Okay, if the state is unable to extradite you within 30 days, you will be committed to the county jail for another 60 days. So at least 30 days and then an additional 60 days. You understand that?
Yes,
So it's
ma'am.
up to you. So I need to know your clear intent as to whether or not you'd like to contest or waive.
Well, I mean, so if I got a probation
So I'm
violation.
not going to discuss whether or not you got your only option is either you're going to waive the extradition or you're going to contest it. So I'll need to know. Now, sir, I'll need to know what you would like to elect today.
Okay, if they want to come get me, then come get me. For this is only for South Carolina state, right? No other states, because I'm wanted in another state,
Okay,
but
yes,
it's not
there's
extradited.
no other state that's on. It's only from South Carolina. Would you like to waive today?
Yeah, let them come get me then.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you will also need to sign the waivers form from the deputies. You understand that in order for me to be able to waive it?
Okay.
And they'll give you 6 forms, yes.
This is the only for Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Yes.
Okay, because I don't want to go back to North Carolina. I got non-extraditable charges there.
The only records I have is the demanding state is South Carolina.
Okay,
You understand that?
okay, yeah.
Okay, so you'll sign each waiver form, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. And they'll return them to me for me to sign. You
Okay.
understand that, sir?
And if they don't, if we sign this and then they contact the state and they don't want it, we can be released. Like,
No,
you know,
but they have a period up to 90 days.
I'm saying if they come back and say they don't want us, like we can be released within the next 24, 48 hours or something
I
like that.
can only advise you with respect to the extradition, sir. Okay? Okay.
But when I sign this, they got 30 days to come get me.
Up initial period of 30 days. Okay, then up to 6, they got a total of 90 days total.
Okay.
Okay, they're gonna contact them and let them know that you are not contesting, okay? So it should move the process faster, but I can't guarantee that. But once you waive, then they will contact the demanding state to let them know that you're waiving extradition and they can come and pick you up. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So deputies, I do things probably a little different than maybe some other judges, but normally I don't sign the extradition forms until the defendant sign, just in case they may change their mind. So you'll need to return those signed forms to me via email within the hour if possible. And I'll need all 6 copies.
Yes, Your Honor, we can do that.
Okay, and that's for inmate Guy and inmate Davis.
Yes, Your Honor, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, have a nice day. That's everyone. Oh, I did have a question.
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
did have paperwork or warrants for an inmate by the name of Juan Falcon. Do you know if he's been released?
Let me check on that. Yes, Your Honor, I believe he bonded out.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did bond out.
Okay, I recognize you, sir. Deputy, I didn't see your name in the back. In the back.
How you doing? It's Deputy Harris, Your Honor.
Yeah, I recognize you. You was in my courtroom, I think a while ago.
Yes, Your Honor. I had another deputy with me, Deputy Boylan.
Okay, nice to see you again.
I see you too, Judge.
Okay, and then I have one other inmate on here was Deshaun Valles. I had paperwork for.
God as well.
Out on bond. It's DESHAWNTE and VELEZ.
Yes, Your Honor, he bonded out. He's not here.
Okay. Okay, well, that will conclude the first appearance for this morning. Thank you so much for your assistance.
There you go.
Okay. Don't forget about the waivers. Thank you.